My top three, as I just gave, were Oronde Gadsden at 1, Fadil Diggs number 2, and Kyle McCord number 3. Let's now go to number 4. We're staying on the offensive side of the ball, and I am going to go with LeQuint Allen, a 6 foot, 195-pound running back. He's got 2 years of eligibility. Last season, he took over the starting job for Sean Tucker, and really it was a carryover from the bowl game against Minnesota, where he was the starter for that game as well. And he really impressed me in his first season with his first full season as a starter for Syracuse football. I shouldn't say his first season. It was his second season. All right. Sorry for the little misstep there, but that's okay. His first season as a starter, he made second team All ACC. He ran for over 1,000 yards. He also caught over 38 passes. And this was the thing that I was looking forward to most with LeQuint Allen last season was I'm sure he's going to be a solid running back. He can run for 1,000 yards. But similar to Sean Tucker, this is someone out of the backfield who can catch passes. Nowadays in football, you got to do more than one thing if you want to stay on the field. It's pretty simple. If you're a running back, you can't just be a power back. You can't just be a pass catching back. You want to be on the field the whole time. You got to be able to do it all. And LeQuint Allen showed in the bowl game, what do you have? A bajillion catches. I think it was 9 or 10 of them against Minnesota. I knew after that moment that he, the following season, taking over for Sean Tucker, might not be as good as Sean Tucker, but was still going to be at least be an adequate pass-catching running back. And he showed it with 38 passes caught last season. And also running over 1,000 yards is no small feat either. So he's probably going to be the starting running back once again for Syracuse football, and that's a pretty good thing. Second team All ACC last season. I would expect around a similar finish for LeQuint Allen next season. Second team All ACC. As far as NFL, no idea. You never know with running backs, especially though. If that position is probably the most volatile in terms of where players are projected to go. You can see players sometimes projected first round, and all of a sudden the next day they're projected in the 5th round. You just never really know. I don't really know regarding LeQuint Allen, his NFL draft status. We'll see. If he has a big year, perhaps he does have the NFL in his future. Now we're going to go back to the defensive side of the ball, to a team captain, Marlowe Wax, a 6'1", 230-pound linebacker. He's made 38 straight starts for Syracuse football. He's in his last year of eligibility. He was second team All ACC last season, and the year before he was honorable All ACC. So it was nice that even though this guy is a veteran player, he took a step in his development. Oftentimes, the older you get, the more often, or the closer you are to your potential. It's not an accident, right? You get older, you're either getting closer to your prime, or you're already in your prime, or you're too old and you're past your prime. And Marlowe Wax showed that extra level, especially with no Michael Jones there. He was the main guy last year, and I thought he was solid. Thought he was rock solid at the linebacker position, and it's great to have that veteran back there, not back there, in the middle, patrolling everything. Marlowe Wax very comfortable with next season. NFL draft standpoint, well, it's tough, especially with linebackers, right? I mean, it's tough with everyone. I see this with every position, but Michael Jones, he's been invited to a couple training camps, so maybe that's a similar thing with Marlowe Wax next season. Time will tell with him. Now let's go to, I think, is the 6th best player on Syracuse football's roster for the season. It is also on the defensive side of the ball, not a transfer or anything, so also another returner. 6'4", 230-pound rover, defensive back, converted wide receiver, Justin Barron, entering his last year of eligibility. He was honorable All ACC last season. He had a career-high 90 tackles for the Orange last year. A defensive back with 90 tackles is no small feat, and he played most of the season last year with a broken hand. He played with a broken hand. He broke it in the Clemson game, I want to say, and then from then on out, he played with a club on his hand. Highly, highly impressive. I don't really know how you do that. I mean, I get it, like you're tackling and everything like that, but still, you're playing with a broken hand. That's got to hurt, even if you're in a cast. And I understand it's football, And football players play hurt all the time. In fact, there's a saying that you're healthy at the start of training camp, and from then on, you're never fully healthy again. Some players, when they enter training camp, are not healthy to begin with. They're coming off surgeries or whatever. Justin Barron last year played on a broken hand and still was an honorable all-ACC player next season. I think he still has room to grow, and he can climb on this list by the time we get to mid-season for next year. So Justin Barron is my 6th best player on Syracuse football's roster right now. So going over the list, 4 through 6, I have LeQuint Allen at number 4. The running back should be the starting running back once again for next season. Marlowe Wax, a team captain, linebacker for the Orange, 38 straight starts. He's just rock solid in the middle. And then at number 6, Justin Barron, who might have the most upside of those 3. But for now, I still have as the 6th best player on Syracuse football's roster right now. Honorable All-ACC last season with a broken hand for more than half the year. As a rover defensive back, he can do a little bit of everything in the secondary for the Orange. And at number 7, I'm going to go back to the offensive side of the ball. And that is Zeed Haynes, a 6'1", 170-pound Georgia transfer with 4 years of eligibility left. He had only 1 catch for 20 yards for Georgia last season. He's a former 4-star recruit for them. Listen, I might be higher on Zeed Haynes than most. I think he should be the number 1 receiver for this team, excluding Oronde Gadsden. I think Oronde Gadsden is the number 1 weapon, but in terms of just a pure receiver, I think it should be Zeed Haynes. I think he has the most potential out of all of them. He is a burner. We saw it in the spring game when he had that long touchdown from Kyle McCord. They tried it a number of times. He was open a number of times. I think he could have a monster season for Syracuse football next season as a field-stretching wide receiver. I can easily see it where he has maybe 45 to 50 catches, but of those catches, he averages an absurd yards per catch. So it could be like 50 catches for 700 to 800 yards, something around that range, because he's a burner. Possibly the wide receiver number 1 for next season. That's why I'm so high on Zeed Haynes for next year. I think he's got a ton of upside for this team. At number 8, we're going to stay on the offensive side of the ball. And if you think that Oronde Gadsden is a Swiss Army knife, if you will, then this next guy, I don't know what he is then. If Oronde Gadsden is a Swiss Army knife, then and Dan Villari, who I'm about to talk about, at number 8, what's more versatile than a Swiss Army knife? Well, maybe it's just Dan Villari. He is a 6'4", 235-pound tight end, running back, quarterback. I don't know. You want to put him on defense too? Who knows? He is a football player. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. He can run. He can throw. He can catch. Whatever you want him to do, he can do it. And he can do it at a pretty high level. He caught 20 passes last season for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was playing tight end. Those numbers don't scream off the page. They don't scream off the page. A tight end only catching 180 yards, that's not much. But also, he ran for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns and threw for 177 yards, 1 touchdown, also 2 picks. So maybe he's not a great quarterback, even though he is a converted quarterback. He won ACC Running Back of the Week last year. Running Back of the Week. As a tight end, it was against Pitt, if you recall that game. The guy's just a bulldozer. He can really just do it all. It was on over 9 yards per carry. He had like 154 yards. What was it against Pitt? This guy can do a little bit of everything. So if you're looking at the weapons for next year for this team, right? You got Oronde Gadsden. He's the number 1 guy. You got LeQuint Allen. You also have Zeed Haynes. And then Dan Villari is the Taysom Hill right now, maybe of college football. That's honestly his comparison. It's Taysom Hill. Can he one day carve out an NFL future? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But because there's only one Taysom Hill. There's only one Taysom Hill in the NFL. So maybe Dan Villari can be the second. But Dan Villari, number 8 on my list right now. And number 9, We go to special teams. I believe I teased it off the top that special teams was included on the list. So number 9, punters are people too. Punters are NFL players too. Punters are college football players too. Jack Stonehouse, a 6'1", 200-pound punter, 2 years of eligibility left for him. He was third team all ACC last season. He had a little under 45 yards per punt, which was second in Syracuse football history. Hey, that's pretty good. Here's the thing with punters and kickers, but really more so on punting, because I think we all understand the importance of a kicker. But when it comes to punting, you don't really think about a punter until you actually think about a punter, right? They're not important until they become important, right? They don't matter, and then they shank it, and it only goes 10 yards. Now you care about a punter, or the punter is back there, and he drops the snap, and it leads to a block punt. Then it matters. Or the flip side is you're at the 50-yard line, you're punting the football, and, hey, they pin them inside the 10, flipping the field entirely. So all I'm saying is that it helps to have a good punter, right? It's usually not going to be the difference in winning and losing a football game until it matters. So Jack Stonehouse is my number 9 player on Syracuse football's top 10 players on the roster for right now. And number 10, concluding the list, this guy was a transfer 2 times. He left Syracuse. He went to an SEC school in LSU, and then he came back to Syracuse this offseason. That's right. I'm talking about Duce Chestnut, a 6', 205 defensive back with 2 years of eligibility left. I believe last season they're going to count as a red shirt for him at LSU. He struggled there. He only appeared in 4 games for them. His highlight came in week 1 where he picked off Jordan Travis in that game against Florida State. But with Syracuse, he was really good. He showed a lot of potential. There's a reason why he was able to transfer from Syracuse to LSU. And no disrespect, they're 2 different programs. Syracuse hopes, and I hope one day they can be a program like LSU. In 2021, he was a freshman All-American. And then 2022, he was honorable All-ACC. So this could be a bounce-back season for Duce Chestnut. Who knows? But I think right now he is the player that I would conclude the list with. I think an honorable mention needs to be given out to Elijah Clark. I sent the list to a buddy of mine before I recorded this, and he said, "What about Elijah Clark?" I said, "Yeah, maybe him too." But for now, I have Duce Chestnut because he was really, really good at Syracuse. So if he can recapture that form, he's definitely a top 10 player on this roster for next season.